All right, hey guys, what's going on? It's that home theater dude. Got a brand new episode for you today. Today's video is long overdue. I've had these things roughly a year now. This is the Parasound A51, also the Parasound A52 Plus. Both of these are 5-channel amplifiers. They have different wattage per channel. It doesn't matter if it's all channels driven, if it's 2 channels driven at one time, but these are an amazing set of amplifiers. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the details about each one of these, do a quick comparison, and a very concise review of these things, having these things in my possession for the last, roughly 12 months. But if that seems right up your alley, go ahead and stick around right after the intro. Well, all right, guys, let's go ahead and start talking about the Parasound A51. This one is one you will see right in front of me, the big boy, right? This one's a little older. It's not new. It's not as sexy as the brand new amplifiers on the market. But let's just go ahead and talk about that real quick. So now, if you buy an amplifier, especially for home theater or for 2-channel stereo, you're probably not going to be replacing these things very often. The reason why is because this stuff doesn't go out of style. If it's made well in the first place, you don't have to worry about any issues down the road. Now, probably the only thing that you will maybe do some maintenance on is probably the capacitors from time to time, or maybe some of the speaker terminals if you're really rough with them, or you're changing gear in and out of there all the time. But these are investments. So I'm saying that to basically preface this next point. These things are expensive. I mean, by anyone's means, the home theater hobby, the home theater passion, or even the hi-fi passion, it's not cheap. So obviously you can get by with some less expensive equipment, but once you start spending some good cash on things, take certain things into consideration that are investment pieces. Like this is an amplifier. You're not going to outgrow this thing. You're going to love this thing for years and years and years. And if you buy once, cry once with a really high quality amplifier, your AVR, you can switch that in and out, and then you still reap the benefits of your high quality amplifier. Because I get it, like we're on the verge of 4K and 8K right now. Who knows whenever 16K will come out, and you guys will probably reject that stuff like witchcraft, like you guys are doing with 8K right now. But it's just one of those things that I wanted to tell you about. Amplifiers, easily a high quality investment. Projector screens, high quality investment. And subwoofers, high quality investment. Besides that, a lot of this stuff is interchangeable. I mean, you can change out your speakers, you can change out your projector, you can change out your AVR processor. So those are things that I wanted to go ahead and preface before I jump into the rest of this thing. So let's talk about why you're probably here in the first place. You're probably here because you're thinking about buying Parasound, or you've already bought Parasound, or you just like watching my videos, I don't know. But the best thing about Parasound is that you get that amazing quality of sound, and detail is the word that I'm gonna come back to more often than not. That's the one word that pops in my mind whenever I think of Parasound. Because I've listened to less expensive amplifiers, I've listened to more expensive amplifiers, but this Parasound sound is why people keep gravitating towards it. You get that extremely high quality, high detailed type of sound with this one without the crazy high buy-in of like a $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 and up amplifier. So I get it, these aren't cheap, so these aren't for everyone. This is a $5,000 MSRP amplifier right here. It's 5 channels by 250 watts. I don't want to go ahead and bore you guys with the more mundane details. You guys can obviously look at the signal to noise ratio and also all kinds of other specs on the website. I'm not going to waste your time with that. So if I missed it, it's not by omission. It's just that it's readily available to you. So besides that, this is an Ultra 2 certified THX amplifier, and this is an older version. So as you're seeing over here, it has a little more compact little brother, right? So imagine that this is the the early 20s, ready to conquer the world type of amplifier, and this is the teenager amplifier, right? So this one's a little newer, and it's still 5 channels, but it doesn't give you 250 watts. But besides that, I'm gonna go ahead and finish talking about the overall sound that you're gonna get out of this. So the Parasound sound that I was talking about is, if you think about sound on a scale, right? Some people like analogous to like a Denon or Marantz, right? Let's just talk about that. A Marantz is over here on the warm side, Denon's over here on the really crisp, clear side, maybe even on the brighter side. So if you think about a sliding scale in between there, right? Or even if you don't just think about just Denon in general, just think about that scale. So now Parasound is going to be more towards the actual warm sound. So now it's a slight delineation from neutral, which is really great. I love just listening to speakers. I love just listening to the way it was supposed to happen from, you know, the director's chair, the engineer's vision, or maybe even the mastering whenever it was happening. So that's why I like things that are more neutral, because it allows that path to come through and allows you to appreciate that sound that was intended in the first place. You can put EQs on this stuff, you can put in different amplifiers, you can put in different preamps. All that's just gonna change the tonality of things. But overall, you know, this one has a really good sound and is just slightly skew from centered, which is gonna be like neutral. It's gonna have that slight little bit of warm sound. So you get a lot of the benefits of having, you know, that classic like tube sound without being overly warm and overly distorted. And then you get that nice, beefy, hunky, like crazy in-your-face performance that you're gonna need with those either super crazy explosions or just those really high details in concerto, or if you were listening to some hi-fi on a 5-channel amplifier. I don't know why you would be, but it can serve dual purpose like that if you have a preamplifier with bypass. So I think that's enough about this one. It is easily one of my favorites. I have, full transparency, I have not bought this one or this one, right? I am gonna buy these though. So I've dealt with them for a year, I've loved them for a year, and it just, I love them. So I gotta go ahead and pay the bill on this one. It's just been a long time review. But besides that, I'm buying this one. I love it, the A51. It has crazy amounts of amplification, has crazy amounts of detail, and just, it looks cool, it's beefy. This is a 4RU, if you can see it right here. It comes with its rack ears. It has these massive heat sinks, which this one doesn't have. And then it's 5 channels, man. Like, what else can you ask for? So I think that's enough about this one. So let's go ahead and switch the review to talking about this one, and then I'll give you guys some close-ups. We'll go ahead and wrap this video up. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do a quick recap. Down here we have the A51. It's a 5-channel amplifier, 250 watts times 5 at 8 ohms. If you want to push it to 4 ohms, which not a lot of home theater, you know, speakers are at 4 ohms anyway, but if you're looking to more of like hi-fi, then you're probably looking at 4 ohm type speakers. That's 400 watts times 5, which is nuts. I mean, that's just unheard of. So you get all that crazy tonality that I was talking about, all that very, very ear-pleasing type of sound that comes through with bulletproof amplification that you don't have to worry about ever again. So now here is the Parasound A52 Plus. This is basically the little brother to the one down below. Okay, so let's talk about power ratings real quick. 5 channels at 180 watts at 8 ohms, right? If you want to do all channels driven. 5 channels at 4 ohms, all channels driven, is going to be 255 watts. If you want to do 2 channels at 8 ohms, you're going to be getting 225 watts. And then if you want to do 2 channels at 4 ohms, it's 350 watts. Lot of horsepower available in this one right here, right? THX Ultra 2 certified, not THX certified, not a deal breaker for most people. A lot of the times the companies that put that stuff on the box that are producing it nowadays, it's more or less kind of a legacy type thing. And when was the last time you actually heard a movie that was mastered in THX? So it's kind of one of those legacy things that, you know, it used to hold a lot of weight back in the 90s and 80s, but you know, roughly around the 2010 era, you're not really seeing it, so it's not really that big of a concern. But if you guys have to have the THX little stamp on the box, typically the companies that do it, they're going to charge you extra just because they got the certification, and it may or may not, you know, jive with your whole system. You'd have to have amplifiers, you'd have to have the TV, you'd have to have the processor, you'd have to have the speakers. All that stuff comes into play, so just think about that. So with this one, differences in sound, right? So obviously in my setup, I use these a little different than most people. Most people would probably just be happy with just one of these. I have 2 of these, right? Because I have a full 9.1.6 system, or 9.2.6 system that I'm using. So I have this one used for my mains, which is going to be my left, center, and right. And then also I used this initially as a 5.0, which was, you know, the surrounds as well as the left, center, and right. Just recently I changed it around to using this one as the left, center, and right plus the rear surrounds. This one uses the front wides as well as the surrounds themselves. So if that's not confusing for you guys, it really shouldn't be, but the whole reason why I wanted to do that is because I use the bigger speakers with this one. I wanted to drive them with a little more horsepower. That was, you know, the idea behind it. And overall, I think that whenever everything was dialed in and, you know, decibel matched, it sounded a lot better. So you get crazy amounts of sound through this thing, and it's not just listening to, you know, 2-channel audio. It's not just listening to home theater. I did the gamut with these. I ran them at all kinds of different volumes, all kinds of different sources. Doesn't matter if it was movies, music, whatever it was. So I got a lot of experience with these things, and I'll tell you, this one is no slouch, right? The A52 Plus, it's the newer version, right, of this one. So they still have, you know, the big boy available if you guys want it. But this one's kind of like the newer version. And this one is conservatively rated at, like I was talking about, that 180 watts times 5. You get a very, very pleasing sound, whether it's listening to dialogue, whether it's listening to music, or, you know, just sitting there watching a movie. All of it's just very, very pleasing. So if you guys are really looking for that Parasound sound, this one is not that expensive. It's roughly $3,000 for a 5-channel amplifier, and you're gonna get a lot of the performance that you're looking for. If you didn't know you were looking for it, you found it. I mean, once you plug these things in, you're definitely gonna understand that there's a difference in between Parasound amplifiers and non-Parasound amplifiers. I love them because you get that, you get closer to like that tube type of sound, that Macintosh type of sound, without spending the Macintosh type of money. So very, very pleased with these things. They have been a staple in my home theater for a long time now. Like I was talking about, I've owned these things for roughly a year, and it's a gift that keeps on giving. It's just a very pleasing amplifier set to use, and I've, you know, been lucky and graced enough to, you know, network with the right amount of people, and they actually sent these things over to me to review long term. And like I was talking about at the beginning of the video, I haven't bought these. I'm gonna buy them. I love them that much. Like, these things are highly sought after, and if you guys haven't been thinking about it, I hope that they're on your radar by now. But yeah, check it out. We got the back of these things. It's very, very simple. You have your unbalanced and balanced inputs on both of these, and then you have your little selector switch over here for your balanced and unbalanced. You have your different ways to turn them on and off. Well, I guess on. You can either have them on all the time, which is a great debate in the hi-fi type of realm or home theater type of realm, or you can, you know, have them turn on whenever your preamplifier turns on, whichever way you'd like to do it. And then obviously you have your speaker connections down here. And then that's about it. You have these little beefy handles that you're probably gonna need. This one does not come with rack ears. It's called the HRA3, if I'm not mistaken, but it's an option that you buy and then you basically just bolt it on. These come with the rack ears, which is, you know, very, very important to me, because if you have something like this, you're probably gonna wanna rack mount it anyway, because it's just gonna get out of the way, and then you don't have to worry about picking this thing up ever again. This is extremely heavy. This one's even more extremely heavy, so just think about that. And the little beefy handles down here definitely can give testament to how heavy this thing is. Huge toroidal transformers in both of these. As you guys know, toroidal transformers over R-core transformers will give you a lot cleaner signal path, which leads to less distortion, which equals better sound coming through. And your solid state amplifiers, just like these are class A/AB amplifiers. In most case, up to 25 watts is gonna be just straight up AAB, well, just straight up A. And then once it gets past that, once you get those dynamics, or, you know, the actual need to go past that, you can actually push it to past, you know, the 25 watts into AB, and then that's what you're gonna be listening to. Solid state amplifiers, biggest thing that I wanna go ahead and mention to you guys is odd order. So the biggest thing I wanted to mention to you guys is odd order harmonics, right? Odd order harmonics give you a type of distortion that it gives you ear fatigue. And the cool thing with these is that they did their research. They basically over-engineered these things to where those all of that negative effect that you would have going with a solid state amplifier versus a tube amplifier. You get your auto order harmonics and your auto order distortion. It is extremely low. You don't have to worry about it. You can sit there and listen to these things for hours and hours on end. You're not gonna worry about ear fatigue. You're not gonna have a headache. You're not gonna be disoriented or anything like that. It's just gonna be a very pleasing type of experience. And big shout out to the guys at Parasound, man. Like they definitely did their research on these, and I get it. These are older. It's not like any of this stuff is brand new, so I don't know why this is breaking news to you guys. There's not a lot of people out there actually reviewing them, so I wanted to go ahead and film this video because I wanted to show you guys my, joy and appreciation of this amazing brand. So I'm a huge fan. I think you guys should be too. There's really nothing else that I need to say about these things, so I think I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. So it's been a nice video. Really appreciate you guys for watching. I've been building my home theater system right behind me for dude, I've been here for 2 months and it's still not done. But this is gonna be the heartbeat of the system right here. I'm gonna be using Parasound amplification to go in the home theater. I have something else planned for you guys that's gonna be using Parasound amplification as well. And really can't wait to showcase that stuff to you guys. But really appreciate you watching. If you guys wanna buy one of these things, go ahead and hit up my buddies over at Dream Media. You guys don't have to pay the big box store prices on anything anymore. So hit them up, I'll leave links down in the description. Really nice guys, give them a call, shoot them an email. Besides that, I got nothing else for you. Really appreciate you guys for watching. Really appreciate all the support, man. About to hit 10 million views, already past 50 million subscribers. I've only been doing this 2 years. It's just crazy. So big thank you to you guys. You guys are the real MVPs there. I got nothing else. I can't wait for football to come back. I got nothing else to say. I'll catch you on the next one.